guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kim, and today I'm going to talk about all the books I read in November. During November I took part primarily in Believathon, so I managed to read 4 middle grade books or children's books, and I had a really great time. Believathon is run by Gavin Hetherington, and the goal of it was to read at least 1 middle grade book a month, which I managed to do. Which I was really pleased about. Couldn't manage much more because I had a really busy month and it just wasn't going to happen. So I started off the month, I think, in a kind of opposite way to a lot of people, in that I began with the group book first, which was Frostheart by Jamie Littler. This follows a little boy called Ash, who is doesn't know where his parents are. They've gone, they've disappeared. And he lives in a village which is in this world called a stronghold. And he has been kind of passed from guardian to guardian, and nobody really wants to look after him particularly. He ends up with a guardian who's a yeti called Tobu, which is this guy here. And basically one day something happens and he has to leave his stronghold, which is isolated in the middle of a completely frozen world. There's snow everywhere. And he joins the crew of the Frostheart, which is like a sleigh that moves across the snow, but it's kind of also like a boat. It's like a boat on, what are they called? Sleigh. Boat on a sleigh. Yeah, and then adventure ensues from there. The thing about the snow is that there are monsters hidden in it, which can be very dangerous. So the crew of the Frostheart and Ash travel across the frozen world, and his quest in particular is to find his parents and find clues as to where his parents might be. I would say with this book that I felt it read young, like younger than I was expecting, because I think in my head I imagine middle grade, I guess like Harry Potter, but maybe that's the older end of middle grade and this is maybe the younger end. And the reason I say that is because everything's kind of spelt quite plainly out for you. Found the writing quite simplistic, you know, and all that kind of thing. There wasn't much mystery as an adult. There's mystery in that, you know, there are things that you don't know and there are things that are surprising, but there are a few twists that were obvious to me, at least. But, you know, it's a children's book, so that's kind of fine. Other than that, I thought it was so cute. It was a really sweet read, and it did get quite gripping at the end. I would say that this has a sequel, at least. You don't get all the answers that you're hoping for the way through. But I think I will pick up the second one for sure. I did enjoy it a lot, and I feel like now the world has been built and there's a lot of interesting characters, there's a lot of interesting places the characters can travel to. There's a lot more to the story that I want to know and I want to find out about. So I probably will pick up the next one for sure. And the pictures in here are absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to insert a clip of my favourite picture of the two, which is actually of Ash and Luna, his friend, who is on the Frostheart. She's the other child on the Frostheart crew, and she's just so cool. She's great. I really like her a lot. And a great role model for young girls, which is always good. Secondly, in the month I picked up And the Ocean Was Our Sky by Patrick Ness. This book, I'm not sure if it's middle grade or not. Like, I got it at my library and it was in the middle grade section, which is why I picked it up, because I'd heard about it before and I really wanted to read it. But it is brutal, like, it is pretty brutal, which I wasn't really expecting. It was my first Patrick Ness book that I've ever read as well. I did like the writing. Basically, let me tell you what it's about. It's about a group of whales who have a civilization much like humans do. When you delve into the sea, gravity kind of flips, and so the whales flip upside down. Like in this picture, you can see This is obviously our sky, and our gravity would be that way. And then they have their whole world going on down here. And the humans and the whales are at war with one another. They don't like one another, they hunt one another. To be honest, like, I didn't follow it all the way. I wasn't well when I read this, and I feel like maybe I need to reread it. This book is a retelling of Moby Dick, which I have not read. So I also feel that I might pick this up again to read in the future. But I do want to read Moby Dick first, so that I have more of an idea of where Patrick Ness was coming from with this. The imagery was beautiful, the illustrations were beautiful, and they really helped paint the picture of a world that was kind of difficult to grasp at first, what with the upside down whales and all of that. But overall I did enjoy it. I gave this a 3-star. Oh, I gave Frostheart a 4-star, by the way. But I gave this a 3-star because it was okay. Like, at the end I was a lot more invested in the whales' quest and their story and the main character, but during the beginning, at least, I wasn't that invested and I was a bit bored. But that might just be me, because I've seen some great reviews about it, and maybe I'm just too stupid to get the meanings all behind it or something, I'm not sure. Anyway, so the third book that I read in the month was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. I absolutely loved reading this so much, it was so good. So, because I only listened to Harry Potter for the first time 2 years ago, and I listened to them on Audible with Stephen Fry doing the recordings, which was so good. But I only listened to them because I wanted to go and see the plays in London. That meant that when I read the first, or listened to the first book, I wasn't that invested. I was kind of like, Harry Potter, whatever. So I definitely didn't enjoy it as much as I did this time around. Like, now that I love all the characters already, paid attention to every single word because I was reading it to myself, and it was just so good. I loved it a lot. This is the Hufflepuff edition because I am a Hufflepuff, according to the quiz. And so this, I would say, like, if you are someone who has never read Harry Potter and you have escaped all the spoilers, like I managed to escape all the spoilers. A couple of years ago, there was only one spoiler that I knew about, someone's death. Just one. It was spoiled by Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which I was really cross about. Anyway, but yeah, so you can't really, this basically has information about Hufflepuff House in the beginning and the end, and it's filled with spoilers. So if you are someone who is like, maybe I will pick up Harry Potter and see what all the fuss is about, don't read that stuff because you will be spoiled for everything. Finally, for Believathon, I picked up The Magic Faraway Tree by Amy Blyton, which was for the prompt for my favourite childhood book. When I was reading this, the beginning few pages, I was like, wait, this doesn't make sense because it's like they've already been to the Magic Faraway Tree. Then I realised that this is in fact book 2 of the 4-book series of the Magic Faraway Tree. And the first one is called The Enchanted Wood. And I should have known that because it was supposedly my favourite childhood book. But I swear that I had the Magic Faraway Tree. But when I was reading it, I remembered some of the lands, but not the story particularly. So I do wonder if, in fact, I've either completely forgotten it because I was young, or I just never read it in the first place. But I just loved this so much. Like, in the beginning, it was difficult to get into the oldie worldy language, like, oh mother dear, blah blah blah, and all that. Which I think for like a young kid nowadays, it might be a lot because people aren't like that at all anymore. But when I like kind of got into it and got used to that kind of conversation, I just loved it. It's such a perfect world, it's such a magical world, and it's so well thought out and exciting for children. I remember as a kid like loving the thought of like all these crazy lands where you get everything that you want, and you know what kids are like. So even though now it didn't really, like, the actual world itself didn't excite me, like to walk through a land where everything's made of sweets and chocolates. Yeah, it'd be kind of cool, but nah, not that bothered because I'm an adult. Or because I'm me, I guess. But as a kid, I loved it, and it was just, and I still found it's like quite, it was so whimsical and nice. The end got quite scary. Something happens to the people that live in the tree, and it's quite brutal. Sorry if my camera angle is a bit weird for this little bit, but I realised I hadn't actually explained the story of the magic faraway tree. I didn't explain Harry Potter, but I feel maybe I don't need to. But the magic faraway tree is basically about a group of children, brothers and sisters, and their cousin, this particular book. They go to the Enchanted Woods. In the Enchanted Woods, there lives magical creatures and a bunch of characters in this big tree at the centre of it. So you have Moonface and Silky and Saucepan Man. They're the three main kind of characters who live in the tree that the children are friends with. And when you go to the top of the tree, there's a ladder that goes through a cloud. When you climb the ladder at the top of the tree and go through the cloud, it leads to like a different land. And these lands kind of blow in and blow out. Sometimes they're there for like a day, sometimes they're there for longer. You never really know. And so kind of when there's an exciting land up there, the creatures who live in the tree let the children know, and they go up there and have some adventure. And sometimes the lands are really cool and they have the best time, and sometimes something terrible happens and they have to escape. So yeah, that's basically the storyline. The only gripe I have with this edition is that sometimes the illustrations don't match up to the story. It only happened twice that I noticed. There was a story in here where they are on elephants, and it's kind of integral to the actual story that they're each on individual elephants, but the picture is them all on the same elephant climbing up together, which I don't know if it would be confusing for kids. Like, they're probably way more savvy than I give them credit for, but it was a bit weird. And there was another one picture where something was described as a bunch of grapes, and then the picture didn't match to the bunch of grapes. It just seemed a bit of a weird confusion with that didn't need to be there, you know? So that was my only real gripe with this. I feel like the cover art is beautiful. I absolutely love it. And I liked the drawings inside. But I didn't love them. I didn't love them, and they were a tad confusing at times, as I've said. So yeah, 5 out of 5 stars for that and Harry Potter. Absolutely loved both of them. The only other thing that I read during November was kind of for Buzzwordathon, which was numbers this round, and also for Handpicked Blogs read along of 1984, and that was part 2 of 1984. I read part 1 in October, and yeah, this it's kind of a weird thing to talk about when you're talking about parts of books, but it took a different turn to the first part, definitely. It suddenly began a storyline about a relationship, and also kind of more the background as to how what is actually going on in this whole political world with the 3 main regions in the world. But I did like it. It did make me think a lot. I'm not actually going to talk much about my thoughts about this book yet because I haven't finished it. But I did enjoy part 2. It wasn't as gripping as part 1. I found it slowed right down, and because of a lot of the historical kind of parts of it, which was like the fake factual part, it was slow going. Like, the text got smaller, and it was like a bit of a, okay, right, we're gonna read about politics now, rather than about the story. But it all kicked off at the end of part 2, so looking forward to part 3 for sure. So that's everything that I read in November. I had such a great time. I really felt like reading middle grade was exactly what I needed this month, because it was quite a challenging month for me, and it really, really helped. So I feel like Gav is right when he talks about it releases some kind of stress from your life, takes you out of the stress of being an adult, and throws a little magic in there, and it's really cool. For that reason, because I enjoyed it so much, I'm going to follow along with Gav and JD Ray Reads, I believe her name is. I'll link her down below. They've started a monthly middle grade book club. So one middle grade book a month, just to kind of lighten the mood in there. I might not do it every month, but it sounds really cute, and I feel like I like to join in like every now and then if I like the look of the book. So I'll put a link in the description down to Gav's video just explaining about that. So I had a really good time this month, and hopefully December will bring some cool reading things again. I'm going to try and do the Magical Readathon, which is run by Book Roast, and I'll link the announcement video down below. And so that's kind of like, you pick your books as you go along. So I've lucked out with the first book. It's something that I needed to read in December anyway, and it fitted the prompt, so I was like, yes, perfect. So hopefully I'll do a video at the end of the year, just with the process of that, because it's super exciting, and definitely check out the video because it looks so fun. So if any of you guys joined in Believathon, I hope you had a good time, as much as I did, and let me know what your favourite book was. And yeah, so hopefully I will see you again soon. Thanks for watching.